As far as other virtualized products that may cost money, we can kind of get around that by maybe playing around with some trial versions or even just stepping up to the plate and paying for them. One of the ones that I enjoy using is something that's referred to as VMware. I'm going to go ahead and open up my browser here. Let's make this biggie size. And I'm just going to simply come in here and type in vmware.com. And it's going to take me to the VMware site. Now, there's a ton of products that they make, both at the server level, at the cloud level. We're looking for a desktop solution. So if I hit the products over here, I have the ability to use either Fusion for Mac, which is a paid product that does virtualizations on Macs. It does a beautiful job of the Windows environment. You can use Workstation Pro. This is the one I would recommend. I need to tell you, though, you could use Player somewhat. Player only allows you to run or launch one virtual machine at a time. That's the major. It's totally free, but you can only get one machine going. So I'm going to come in here into the Pro section, and you'll notice here it has all the sales pitch here for the Pro Edition. Again, if the page is changed, don't worry. It's just that VMware changed this web page, and hopefully the links will be the same, or the layout will be somewhat the same, so that you can do what I'm doing here. I'm going to come over here where it says download now, and it takes me here to a page that then says, okay, hey, look, if you want to try this out, you can try it out. I'm going to come down here and I can either try it out on Linux or I can try it out on Windows. I'm going to go ahead and select download now. It says, okay, where do you want to save this bad boy? We'll go ahead and make sure that we save it in our download directory here. So I'm in downloads, good. I'm going to hit save. And of course, again, at the time of this recording, this is version 14 of the Workstation Edition. So again, I'm going to pause the video while we wait for this to finish to download, and then I'll continue after it's done. Okay, so it looks like it's done downloading. We'll go ahead and just launch it right now. I'm going to hit the run command. It's going to come up and say, hey, are you sure you want to install this? This is part of the UAC for Windows 10. I'm going to hit yes. And of course, again, we're going to get hopefully a little faster hamsters running around the wheel now. We'll go ahead and minimize the web browser here so we can see everything that's going on. And here comes the installation. We're going to go ahead and hit next. I'm going to agree to the license agreement. You don't need to install the enhanced keyboard driver. I'm just going to go ahead and hit next here. And then again, it's going to say, hey, you want to do updates on startup or check for them? Do you want to be part of the customer experience improvement program? I'm just going to hit next, create the shortcuts, and hit install. Again, we're going to pause the video as it goes through and does the installation. Oh, it's relatively fast here. Maybe I won't pause. Yeah, let's just go ahead and keep going here. So we get a desktop icon representing VMware Workstation for us. Again, this is doing the same thing that the Hyper-V does. It's creating a hypervisor for us on top of the host operating system. You can see here now it's installing the virtual network drivers. And we'll take a look at how VMware handles networking here in just a second. It is a little different than what we saw in Hyper-V. So we're going to go ahead and hit finished. And of course, at this point, we can go through and launch VMware Workstation by double-clicking on it. And it says, okay, here's what's asking for your license key. Well, as I mentioned before, you can try this for 30 days. Note it's 30 days from the time that you launch or the time I hit OK. So again, you can use this product all you want. Like here's my UAC popping up. Within those 14 days. And then afterwards, I believe it's about $149, at least at the time of this recording, to purchase the full product. Now, to create a virtual machine, we just simply select Create a Virtual Machine. So I'm going to select Typical here. I'm going to hit Next. And here's what's kind of cool is that you can either install from the physical DVD or you can select an ISO. Now, with VMware, it's relatively smart with the newer operating systems like Windows 10, Server 2016. When you select to install from those, it'll actually do a silent install for you, which is kind of cool. You don't have to go through all the different steps. It just goes through and installs for us. I'm going to go ahead and just select I'm going to install one later just so I can get to where I want to get to, which is talking about the networking infrastructure here. It does ask, as far as the operating system itself, do I plan on installing Windows, Linux? You can see the different OSs here. Within Windows, I can go through and select, hey, I'm going to install Windows 8X. I'm going to hit next. And the reason why it's asking me these questions is that it's going to go through and actually give me some best practices or some best tweaks as far as memory and hard drive space is concerned. Now, at this location here, when we're looking at the new virtual machine wizard, this is the location where it's going to install our virtual machine. You don't want to necessarily take that as a default. So I'm going to click on my browse button here, and I'm actually going to go back to my drive where we have the CEH project. And again, I'm going to create a folder for this new machine. We'll just call it Windows 8.1. I'm going to hit OK. And then, of course, it's going to go through and say, okay, what's the disk size that you're going to utilize? We recommend at least 60 gig. And here's a choice you need to make, and that is whether to store the virtual machine as a single file or multiple files. And the advantage, of course, of doing multiple is that when you move a virtual machine from one computer to another, it's very slick and easy to do. I'm a bigger fan of just keeping everything as a single disk, or I should say as a single file on the disk. So I'm going to select the top option there. I'm going to hit next. It gives me a summary, and of course I can go back and change things if I want. This is our configuration interface for VMware. I'm going to hit close. I'm just going to hit finished, and there's my new machine. Now, the thing I wanted to show you here is the default setting for the network interface, and that is to be NATed. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on NAT. It's going to open up the network interface here for me, or the configuration. And again, you'll see here that I've got a couple of different options. So let's start with the top one real fast. A bridged network environment is where we're going to bridge the network so that the virtual machine has direct access to the external network. So it's going to get its own IP address, and it's going to look like a real machine on the network itself. NAT means that it's going to obviously just use the current host IP address, kind of like what your router does for your network at your house. Then there's what they refer to as host-only networking. Now, host-only networking provides a network connection between the virtual machine and the host. So if like you need to transfer files back and forth. You can also specify a custom network interface. And if we do that, we can go through and say this is going to be strictly, you'll notice here the interface is already being taken up. There's a VMnet 1 for that host only option, and there's a VMnet 8 which is used for the NAT option. Well, I can go through and select VMnet 0 as a network interface for me. And all the machines that I would install inside of VMware, if I select them to be on the same network, they can talk to each other, but they won't be able to talk to the host machine. Does that make sense? So I'm going to hit OK. You'll notice that it changed it to VMnet 1. And of course, again, you can go through, let me go back in here real fast. You can go through and pick whichever number you want. 0 just happens to be the first one that's available to us. So other than that, all the setup steps that I show you, or I've showed you in the Hyper-V world, are going to apply here. So you'd want to just go through, install your virtualized machines, put them on VMnet 0, and then you should be able to continue on with additional installations.